Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My topic today is never lose the vision of reality. Talking about dreams and future, I would say dreams should never be too far away from reality. Detaching from reality, lacking solid or practical actions, any future plan or dream project will be nothing short of daydreaming, or at most, well-intentioned thinking. Here I am reminded the year of 2000, when 191 member states of the United Nations held a World Summit Conference, which made a declaration known as the Millennium Development Goals, the goals of 2015, which every member state pledged to meet were such as elimination of hunger and poverty, drastic reduction in child mortality rates, reversing the spread of AIDS and other deadly diseases, etc. Now, 6 years later, almost halfway to the final year of 2015, do we see any signs of realizing these goals? Today, half the world, about 3 billion people, still live under $2 a day. About 270 million children have no access to safe water. 11 million children die before they reach the age of 5 each year. Do we come to harness the spread of AIDS? The answer is also no, and indeed, AIDS is spreading faster and wider than ever before. What is even worse, with the wake of the Iraqi war, the nuclear crisis in Iran, and unsettled situations in many places, the visions of us young people today are often limited. But the limited vision we do have and care about every day cannot change the conviction that this world does not seem to promise a very bright future before us. Who is to blame for all this? Of course, we can blame the governments, how disappointing they all seem to be. In one moment, they're pledging to build a better future for us. In the other moment, they're igniting wars, killing more innocent people. But don't you think we, ordinary folks, should also take some responsibilities for, say, elimination of hunger and poverty? When we are quickly rushing to schools, works, or places of entertainment, how many times did we stop just to hand over some food to the deprived on the street? When we are reading newspaper, browsing for news about what is going on in this world, how often do we stop to think about actual ways that we can do to help the people who are suffering from various disastrous situations? In fact, how much have we done to help the people who are in need just around us? Dreams are certainly beautiful and indispensable in our life, for they give us inspiration and motivation. Future plans are certainly necessary, for they provide us with goals and guides. But what is most beautiful and important is an action on a day-to-day basis. In order to realize our dreams or make our future goals realized, we need to put our words into deeds and base our vision on reality. In other words, while human beings should be, first and foremost, idealists and thinkers, we should also be, and all the more, realists and practical doers. Thank you.
Contestant 19. Most people agree that buildings represent a valuable record of the past for any society. But controversy arises when old buildings stand on ground which modern planners feel could be better used for modern purposes. In such situations, should modern development be given precedence over the preservation of historic buildings so that contemporary needs can be served?
Thank you, Rick. Well, first of all, I need to clarify my stance, which is I do not see both kind of styles, which are the styles of traditional history interest or the styles of modern development, stand in contrast. In fact, I believe there is a way balancing both and satisfying the interests of both styles, just in between. Well, first I need to, and we all need to realize that it is just not a good solution to give up all the old buildings just to satisfy the economic development. Or it is neither a good idea just to preserve all those things, because we need an atmosphere of historic beauty. What should we do? Well, what we need to do, and the government of Beijing is doing right now, is to evaluate the significance of historic interest. And they preserve the ones who are of most historic interest. For example, the lanes or hutong of Beijing is already preserved very well as an area in downtown city, and they are attracting more and more visitors and tourists around the country and even the globe. Another part is to divide different visions or zones for different kind of purposes. When we go to Zhongguancun, a well-developed area of Beijing, we can feel the excitement and our pulse racing and our blood coursing in our veins because we feel that we are part of this beautiful metropolis city, because we see high rises and high tall buildings around and constructions everywhere. And when we walk into summer palaces or old summer palaces, we feel that we are surrounded by those beauty and scenic places in accordance with Chinese traditional belief and Chinese traditional philosophy. And this time, you feel that you are part of this glamorous city of a long, beautiful Asian history. Right now, I have to share this one part that I love the most in Beijing downtown. Among a lot of high buildings and tall buildings, I see this one modern building with beautiful modern design, standing with a small little Chinese traditional building. In my eyes, surprisingly, they do not seem to fighting against each other, but rather in a perfect harmony. This place is going to be more popular and more in cities of Beijing and even more cities in China, because it represents the exact characteristic of our nation. What is it? It's the combination of modern development and traditional culture and history. Thank you.
Contestant number 19. You are obviously dissatisfied with the progress made so far in achieving the Millennium Development Goals. So do you think the world leaders have better things to do than working out goals that could hardly be achieved?
Thank you for your question. Well, this question seems to me that I need to give some suggestions to the world leaders. Well, I can't say suggestions because I'm feeling too big to stand in front of them, just give them advice. But I do have expectations that rather than resolving problems or conflicts in the world by wars or violence, it is a better way just to sit down and talk in a peaceful atmosphere. Yes, thank you.
Contestant number 19, thank you very much for your speeches.
Thank you.
You talk about balance. I just wonder, do you think that there can ever be a balance between conservation and modern development?
There is ever be a balance between conservation and development. It is really hard, that I have to confess, to keep the balance of both of the development or the cultural and conservation. But the perfect atmosphere or the perfect idea of achieving the balance is our goal. Maybe we can say, all right, Beijing is well developed and then we have all the historic places. But we can always say that we can do better just to make a better place for people to live in. Thank you.
Contestant number 19, thank you very much for your speeches.
Thank you.
In your prepared speech, you talked about we need to be idealists and thinkers, but also realists and practical doers.
Yes.
Can you give us an example from your own life where you were an idealist, but at the same time you had to be realistic in order to be able to reach the goals?
Thank you for your question. Well, first I want to quote from a very famous statement in America. He said, "I wish that this world would be a better place because I lived." This sounds a little bit big for me, but I do keep it as one of my mottos because one of my dreams, or when I'm being an idealist, I want to just to touch hearts, as many as possible, and make a difference. These things can be realized by, right now, for me, standing here, delivering a speech about my belief and trying to touch and reach more souls of all the people seated here. And, or maybe by becoming a teacher in the future, sharing my thoughts with the students. That can also serve as a way of realizing my dreams. Thank you.